we're looking at a refresh of the basic chords, just to make sure you know some of the basic chords that I'd like us to know from memory. It's more for the first time players and for those that have been playing for just a few weeks. These are the chords you must learn. Now, on the PDF file that you're going to get along with this, you'll see next to each chord is a time clip. In other words, 0.54 seconds or something like that, for example. That is where to find the chords I'm demonstrating. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to play through part 1, where it says prioritize these chords on your PDF file. If you don't have the PDF file, drop me a WhatsApp so I can help you with that. And whatever chord you want to learn, like if you want to learn E minor or whatever chord, for example, you simply go to that point index on the page on this particular video, and I'll show you specifically how to play the chord. Now, just a quick recap before we get going. You always count from the bottom. This is your first string, second string, third string, fourth string, fifth string, sixth string. And we're going to start with the chord G. Should sound something like that. Now, how to play it? You'll notice that at 1 minute 10 seconds it'll say that on your page. You'll get to the chord G. Okay. Now, finger 1 must go here, second fret. Remember, here's your first fret, second fret, third fret, and then you're going to have at the bottom your third finger. It's going to give a different angle so you can see the fingers nice and clearly. You got that, and your chord should sound like this. And just a breakdown one more time. First finger, fifth string, middle finger, top string, ring finger, bottom string. That's the chord G, simply called G major. And we play all 6 strings. So if you view to the strumming hand, you play from here, all 6 strings. Now, as we go through the different chords, like the next one's D, for example, you'll notice you don't always play all the strings. And the purpose of this refresh basic chords chart is that if you know the top 10 chords, there's a huge amount of songs you can play almost immediately. So this is really, really a good knowledge base to have, chord base to have to play a lot of the songs you guys are used to listening to. When it gets to popular chords, or also popular chords in part 2, learn those as you need to know them, and so on as the page goes down. Now, if you look at about 2 minutes 30, you're going to see D, and your D chord looks like this. It starts with finger 1 on the 3rd string, 2nd fret. Middle finger, notice my fingers are numbered, and these numbers do correspond with the numbers on the PDF file. And then your 3rd finger goes to fret number 3 on the 2nd string, and we strum from the 4th string down. So you're strumming from here down. Okay, one more time. That's your D chord. Next up is an E chord, working from left to right. This will be around about 3:10, somewhere around there on your PDF file. And let's have a go at E, or E major. Now, that starts with finger 1 on the 1st fret of the 3rd string from the bottom, middle finger to the top, ring finger underneath it. So far, pinky hasn't been used, it's just hanging around. There's your E chord, you can see it nice and clearly. All 6 strings. Now, you'll also notice as well that there's blue dots on each chord, excepting for the B minor. There's a reason for that. I'll explain it when we get there. That blue dot is known as the bass note or the root note of the chord. It's the note from which the chord is built. So if you're playing G again, for example, and I'll sit and focus on left and right hand together, my blue dots on the 6th string, that's the bass note or the root note, the note from where G is built. So that's your blue note. For the D, there you can see the chord again, recap, from the 4th string, and then E from the 6th string. Okay, on to the next chord. We're looking at an A chord. Focus on the fretting hand. There's 2 ways to play this. I'm going to show you both ways. All 3 fingers need to squeeze into the 2nd fret. So you can see fingers 1, 2, and 3 like that. And if I do it slow motion, first finger on the 4th string, 2nd finger underneath, ring finger underneath that. Now, my little fat fingers don't like that. So I like swapping fingers 1 and 2 around. So I do that. Now, not every guitarist likes this. So try it. If it works for you, fantastic. If it doesn't work, still fantastic, because then you know which one works for you. That's your A chord. That's on the PDF. That's the way I like doing it. Whichever one works is cool. And you strum A from the 5th string down. That's where the blue dot is over here. Next chord, F for favorite. Now, everybody battles with F. It's a sneaky chord because your first finger needs to go flat across both strings at the bottom. Okay, so you can see first finger is nice and flat like this. And if I was to make a fist, for example, and I pulled my first finger back, you can see the first finger coming out. That same action is sort of around here. I've got my fist and I'm pulling my first finger back. And the reason why I'm getting my first finger flat and pulling it back is to make sure that he's nice and flat across it. Finger 2 goes there, finger 3 goes there. That's my F chord. So finger 2 is on the 3rd string, finger 3 is on the 4th string, and I strum him from the 4th string. And like I said, F is normally a bit of a sneaky chord. People normally don't like F at first. Everyone gets all their chords awesome and along comes F. Okay, but trust me, you will get it right. It's a very important chord. We need to know this chord from the 4th string on the blue dot, F. Next up, we're on to the second line of part 1, starting with the C chord. Nice easy chord, very popular chord as well. Looks like a F, but you'll notice similarities. Finger 1 is no longer flat, so watch out for this. Careful not to keep him like that. So on the 2nd string, 2nd fingers in the 2nd fret, 4th string, and the ring finger to the top of the 5th string. Not to the top of the 6th, but to the 5th over here, in the 3rd fret, and that's C. And also we're going to strum it from the blue dot, and the blue dot is on the 5th string. Followed up D minor. Now when you see a lowercase m, it means minor. Okay, majors sound like this. This is a D major. It's often referred to as a happy sort of positive sound. The minor's got like a sadder, deeper sound to it. You can hear it's a bit more solemn, a bit more sort of quiet, a bit more reserved, a bit more of a darker sound. Happy, bright sound major, dark sound minor. Okay, now finger 1 for D minor starts at fret 1, string 1. Middle finger goes to string 3, fret 2, and the ring finger onto the 3rd fret, 2nd string. And we strum him also from the 4th string. So we're going to have D minor from here. Next up, E minor. Okay, E minor is going to have fingers 1 and 2. You can use 2 and 3 actually as well if you want. I'm not too fussed with the E minor. You can use 2 and 3 or 1 and 2. But let me show you 1 and 2 quickly for the E minor. First finger, 2nd finger, both on fret 2 on strings 5 and 4. I think by now you should be getting used to how the strings and the chords work, and if you're still not clear, please drop me a WhatsApp. We need to know these diagrams, and I'd like us to get going and get the basics under wraps as quickly as possible so you're all happy. E minor, you can see it nice and clearly there, and we strum all 6 strings. Nice big sounding chord. Next up is A minor. Finger number 1 goes to string number 2 at the 1st fret. Be careful that you don't touch the bottom string. Sometimes the fingers actually touch strings that shouldn't, so just watch out for that. Make sure your strings are always nice and clear, that you can hear the entire chord. Finger 2, fret 2, string number 4, and the ring finger sneaks underneath it. We still haven't used the pinky here. Okay, that's A minor. And we're going to play him from the 5th string down. So there's your A minor from the 5. And then lastly for this, prioritize these chords section. Your 10th chord is B minor. I'm going to show you 2 ways. First of all, sort of an easier B minor, and then a slightly fuller B minor, which I'd like you to try because it's really worthwhile doing it. But B minor, finger 1, string 1, fret number 2. Finger number 2 goes into fret number 3, 2nd string, and ring finger goes to fret number 4 of the 3rd string. This is B minor, and we're strumming from the 4th string down. Now notice there the B minor hasn't got a blue dot because the bass note is not being used presently. We'd have to cross over to a bar chord to play the B minor to get that B note there. So this is one of the exceptions here. So Let's just learn the shapes. B minor looks like this. String 1, string 2, string 3, and playing from the 4th string down. And I said there's a second way for B minor I'd like you to try. Try doing that. So all the changes is finger 3 goes up a string, pinky underneath him. So there's your original B minor. The different one, finger 3 goes up, pinky underneath it. It gives a slightly fuller sound for the B minor. Okay, that's your top 10 chords that I'd like you to know from memory. So I want this to be reflex. Now I'm not going to go through part 2. I'm not going to go through those 10 chords. Those you can learn, okay, as you need to know them. I want to go to part 3 because this is actually quite a fun part. You'll see there's a D sus2 and a D sus4 and an A sus4. The sus stands for suspended. There's a whole theoretical reason for what suspended means and why it's called that. But this is what it sounds like. Play a normal D. Hear the change there? I've brought the pinky in. And if you look at your diagram, you'll see that finger number 4, the pinky is finally used. This is D sus4. If I go, then I've got D sus2, and that's lifting off the middle finger. Now what's quite cool with this over here is you can, anytime you're playing a D chord, you can add a D sus4 or a D sus2. It'll always sound good. Check it. Always sounds good if you pick it. And if you just want to see the picking pattern there for those that are slightly more intermediate, something like this, you can see the pinky go down and the middle finger lift. Always sounds cool. And then the same can be said for the A to the A sus4 and the A sus2. There's the A. Remember I said I like mine like this with 1 and 2 swapped around. But you can bring the pinky for the A sus4, or you can slide the 3rd finger across. And there's the A sus2. So the same scenario, the same concept. Anytime you got an A chord, change it to an A sus4, change it to A sus2, it will always sound good. And then to finish off part 4, the C, add 9 and E minor 7th chords. These are very popular, I notice, with a lot of the new artists like Ed Sheeran. C add 9 looks like this. Finger 1 goes here, finger 2 goes there, finger 3 and finger 4. So this is more for the advanced player. It's giving a bit of a different angle there, so you can see the fingers nice in position. And this sounds quite cool if you come from a G. And then another popular chord after that is E minor 7. And even though I don't have it on the page, you can actually take it to an A7 sus4. Well, it sounds quite scary. Just losing the first fingers. That's just a little extra one that's not on the page. And those 2 chords are just little add-on extras. Something that you can add on that you will come across them along the line. Like I said, part 1 I want you to learn parrot fashion. Part 2, 3 and 4 on the page. Learn them as you need to know them. Okay, hope this helped a little bit. You'll also be getting a refresh course on some strumming patterns for those that are still new to guitar to get you up and running. And there'll be a scale one too. But otherwise, have an awesome day. I hope you enjoyed these chords. If you've got any questions with how the fingers work, the numbering, the strumming, anything like that, drop me a WhatsApp. Happy to help. We want to get you playing. Take care. Bye.